TAAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel and a global reach. And just as I promised y'all, we are back, and we have gathered three gentlemen to talk about the Senate debate we just saw between James Talarico and Jasmine Crockett. And well, let's let them introduce themselves. We can I'll tell you who's on the panel here, and then give a brief introduction of themselves. And I want to start out with the former mayor of Prairie View, Texas, Mr. David Allen. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Hear you very well. If you want to just give a little brief, other than that, we can keep it pushing.
Okay. I actually born in Panama, but military brat and retired. My dad retired in San Antonio, went to Emerson, Fox Tech, and on to Prairie View A&M University from there. And as you said, the former mayor for the city of Prairie View. And I'll keep it short so we can get right into it.
Yes, sir. Okay. Also on this extinguished panel, we have the co-host of one of our favorite shows on TAAN TV. It's the Caregivers series. My main man, Mr. Williams, Mr. Derrick Williams. How you doing, sir?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Here you're fine.
All right. Well, like I always say, ain't nothing to it but to do it. My name is Derrick Williams, and I am the founder and owner of Group Innovation, which is a multidiscipline consulting and training company focusing on race, diversity, organizational effectiveness, and a host of other touchy-feely issues. Got here to San Antonio by way of the military. I have military brats, and I brought them into the world. So I'm an ex-military man. I was superintendent of the behavioral science or the social action school at Lackland Air Force Base, and retired in 87, arrived in 83, and San Antonio is my home, and I've been trying to get here all my life.
All right. Well, I know you have some good things to say tonight, Mr. Williams. And last but not least, he's co-hosting this show, this recap show tonight. He's my main man. He's dedicated to TAAN TV, which I love. And he's the host of another show that we have on TAAN TV that is blowing up, Mr. Tyrone Darden. And the name of the show is Community Conversations. What's up, Ty?
Appreciate all the Vance. As Vance said, my name is Tyrone Darden, born and raised here in San Antonio, Texas. Just looking for good people and good things. So I'm very, very, very anxious to get into this conversation and see everybody's perspective on how the debate went.
Okay, we just got a little audio trouble. I'm sure our producer will get on that, Ty. So let's jump right into the fellas. We ready to go?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask these are quick, short little questions that I have, and then we'll let Ty do the meat and potatoes of the questions. So and these are short. You give me short answers, y'all. Can even be one word, a yes or a no. First of all, I'm gonna read the questions, and because they're simple. There's one. I want you to rate the debate between 1 and 10. 10 being outstanding, and 1 being brother, please. All right. Number 2, do you think Texans are excited about this Senate seat, this race, this seat here? Number 3, did you learn something new about either one of the candidates, James or Jasmine? Did you learn something new from this debate? Okay, from this debate. And my last question is, do you think TAAN TV should keep doing shows like this U.S. Senate debate recap? And those are my questions. So, Mr. Allen, we'll start with you, sir.
Okay, sir. Which one you want me to answer first?
Okay, the first one, yeah. Rate the debate between 1 and 10.
I'd give it an 8 because I learned and heard from someone I'd never heard of before. The debate itself was good, but the quality and what have you was, again, in having ran for office a few times, If you don't know the people, you starting off swimming upstream. If the people don't know you, that's costly.
Okay, good. Now you answered two of those questions. Now let me give you this one. Do you think the Texans are excited about this Senate race, this seat, this particular seat?
Yes, because of Miss Crockett. Because you have to bring that excitement. Voter apathy is very old nationwide. I like and support her because she can help move people who, like President Obama did, bringing folks out who had never voted before or had stopped voting. And that's important because if they don't come to the polls, we lose automatically.
And last question, do you think TAAN TV should keep doing shows like the recap?
Oh, that's not a question. Just go on to the next thing. Absolutely. You know doggone well y'all need to keep doing this. Absolutely. I think it's a great idea and a great form. I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate it. All right, it's up to you now, Mr. Williams. It's up to you. Rated from 1 to 10, the debate.
Yeah, as with the mayor, I'm not a statistician guy, even though I have had to use stats in evaluating responses. But for us to rate, I would say that it was the word debate. For me, it didn't necessarily fall within that. Have those features. My understanding of debate, I saw more of coming out, sharing their position on various issues, more of a style. I think they showed their style more than doing the nitty gritty debating. But from a rating standpoint, and I understand that too. They say politics is definition of politics is war without bloodshed. So there certainly wasn't any bloodshed. Since they are both on the same team, and team being they recognize or identify as being members of a party called the Democratic Party, I think they could work well together. So I would go as the mayor, put it somewhere up there around 7, 8, if we had to evaluate and give it such a rating. Okay. Do I think Black Americans are excited? I think Black Americans are excited, and some other folk as well. We are at war, and that's kind of how I see what's going on, not only in Texas. Texas is a microcosm of the United States. And as with other states like California and New York that are used often as the temperature states, Texas is a temperature state. Texas has a reputation for taking a lot away from folk and maintaining a position that I think has contributed to the mess that we're in. So I think the whole lot of people are excited about Jasmine. As the mayor said, primarily because she speaks out. She's identifying issues without whispering. And I don't think we need to whisper anymore. I have 5 children. I have 10 grandchildren, and I have 8 great-grandchildren. And I'm very concerned about their future. And having been a retired military person, know a little bit about war and the demands of war. And we are literally at war in this nation. And we don't need to pussyfoot around. We need someone that's going to call it the way it is. And I think she did a superb job in calling it the way it is. Now, it may not sit well with everyone. Most folk identify her as an angry Black woman. Well, anytime a Black woman opens her mouth up and speaks an octave above a conversational piece, she's angry. Well, it's okay to be angry sometimes. It's what you do with that anger. And I believe that she has stirred the base. And so absolutely. And as far as TAAN TV, absolutely, we need to keep on doing what we're doing. Communications, getting the word out. This is a new day, and we have a platform, and I think we need to use that platform to counter the foundational platforms that are not addressing the issue. And sometimes it takes a program like a platform like TAAN to speak up and speak out. And I think TANs are doing a fantastic job in doing that. And not only because I'm affiliated with it, but I think the word is a word.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Williams, and for that. Now, Ty, I'm gonna go to Ty. Ty, you can either answer these questions real quick, brother, because we know you're gonna take on over and get to the meat and the potatoes of this. So you can rate it if you found anything new about either one of the candidates, and and of course, are Texans excited about this race? And then from there, my brother, you can take it over, and because these gentlemen are got a lot of knowledge and ready to do some talking for us.
Well, I didn't hear your rating. Your rating. I'm sorry.
You got to work on that CS. But and Ty, while you working on that, maybe I can get Mr. Allen going on a question here. So Mr. Allen, when you said you had mentioned that you learned something new about one of the candidates, so I want to ask you: is it was that? What can you do with that information? And how important did that help you? with your decision on what you're doing? Because I know you're excited about Jasmine, but also listening to Mr. Talarico. I think he said some things too that subsequently could maybe have you thinking. Elaborate on that for me if you could.
He's a nice guy, and no doubt a good man. But Miss Crockett has authored 44 bills and co-sponsored 874. That's a little under 1,000. This man may have visited Washington, D.C. to go to the Capitol. I don't know. But as I told folks when I first ran, this is not a training ground. There's too much at stake, especially in these times. We need someone who concerns them so doggone much that they went through all this trouble to eliminate her district for running. That should be enough to get a lot of people's attention as to why we need to support her. They're basically saying we need her to go and we need to understand why. And if we've seen any of the things in DC and the hearings and things that she's been on and questioning this and that, trying to go for equality and equity and fairness, we need people in there like that, because even the Republicans are afraid to do the right thing in the current administration. And we haven't had that many people, even on the Democratic side, speaking out as eloquently and intelligently as Ms. Crockett has done. All he did was reinforce the fact that I need to do more to support her, because he's not ready for Washington, D.C. This is prime time, and you have all sorts of levels for a reason. You need to get more experience. He referenced his classroom. She referenced the courtroom. All of this stuff in DC winds up at the United States Supreme Court, not at a school district. Back to you, sir.
Thanks, sure. Okay. So Ty, I think that was great there, Mr. Allen. Ty, are we ready to get going?
I think we're ready. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, man. So
Okay,
we can
good,
take it
good,
from here,
good.
y'all.
All right.
Let's get
Well, it sounds like we already started off strong. I want to recap though, and we can kind of bounce off of it. So I heard Mayor Allen say he gave it an 8, and I kind of heard the feedback of why. But Mr. Williams, the sound was breaking up. I didn't hear how you rated 1 through 10 the debate and the why for it. Could you just give me a quick summation?
Yeah, I felt that the question it put me in a different place as far as rating on a scale. I said that if I was forced to rate it on a numerical scale, it would be around that same area that the mayor pointed out. Seven. I felt that it did not for me in terms of a debate. I when I hear the term debate, I'm looking for people to cross the road and take and push. I didn't see a lot of pushing. Okay, and I understand that it was an initial debate. I think it showed camaraderie, but for me, it showed more stylism than issuism. So again, as I said, I'm not a statistician guy, but if I had to place it on the scale, I would move it beyond five. Okay. Um, that's about the best I can do in being forced to take a number because I was hoping to hear a little kickback on the antagonism side of, there's nothing wrong in saying, hey, I see that very different. And I felt it was more of a cooperative kind of debate. Can you please pass the chicken? Can I have a little bit more butter on the bread? I was looking for not hostility, but I was looking for on some of the issues more of a stance, and I didn't see any strong stances in terms of opposition. I think they're going to work well together as a team. Whoever gets elected, I think that they had a lot of similar perspectives. But that was my response, and that's kind of a muggish. My mug on one side, my womp on the other. But that's about the best I can do in terms of rating them. I'm looking for nonverbals.
If I hear you, yes, sir. So I got a follow-up question, and we'll get back over to Maryland. So in my mind, there should be something gained when you have these type of opportunities. We know that it's a partisan primary, so there's the Democratic side. So a twofold question: what do you think, if anything, was gained for the Democratic Party for this debate, and then for each candidate, do you think anything was gained, and if so, what was gained? I heard Mayor Alex, he really didn't know too much about.
Yeah. What, let me try to repeat the question. Are you?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah. You need to repeat the question for me.
I'm getting it cracked.
No, it's cracking up real bad. I can't quite get to the question.
Yeah, I didn't understand anything. And I know Tyrone has a lot to say, but I'm not hearing anything but break up. And from an effectiveness standpoint, it's ineffective at this point. I'm not hearing Tyrone.
We might have to switch it here. If we can get our producer, maybe we can. Okay.
Yeah, it's not coming through. Breaking up real bad, buddy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We're sorry for that for Tyrone, man. Sometimes that's live TV. What can you do?
Sure.
So, fellas, we can continue, man. And like we're doing, we're just doing a recap and really, my questions were, just getting your opinion, what you thought of the debate and everything. So, Mr. Allen, I'm gonna go with you. Is what can you tell the people, Texans, matter for this seat, as far as what we need to do, and just what do you think about, even give us the state of the country and how this race here may, do something for us.
I'll use something everyone can relate to that I went through in Texas that went all the way to Washington, D.C. COVID-19. I was taking a look at the county judge. The next in line in an emergency is the governor of the state. Then it goes to the president in Washington, D.C. They were both following the president that leave everything open, there's no problem, etc. I had just come back from Vietnam and I saw in the news I was getting from there, I didn't know what it was. They didn't have a name for it, but over 200,000 people were in quarantine. And I'm like, what the hell? What do I have? Okay. I'm following them in a leadership standpoint. They weren't moving. So I did an emergency declaration resolution in our city. And people said, well, the governor said, and I said, I am easy to reach. If he doesn't have my number, give it to him. But I'm responsible for the people in these 7.2 square miles on and off the campus of Prairie View A&M University in the city of Prairie View. And we shut it down. I instituted a 9 o'clock curfew. 2 weeks later, they wound up doing the same thing, essentially.
Same thing.
But as a result of making a decision on protecting safety of people, we didn't have our first COVID-related death till almost 2 years later. The county started off counting the deaths, and they stopped when the numbers started getting high. They say, oh, we don't want to keep putting that out there. But it's that type of leadership where we need people like Ms. Crockett in DC who are going to make a decision for life and safety and property of people. Waffling, and that's why I'm back to my statement. This is not a training ground. If you don't know it, take the time to learn it, then look to get the job. You don't go onto the job and learn it. You need to show us that you know something about it before you get there. The gentleman, and I can't quite say his name, so I'm not going to mess it up, but he kept referring to his experience as an educator. And I think that's wonderful. We had a lot of educators in the mayor's office in Prairie View for years, educators and government folks. I got in there with a business background and we moved the city. And if I didn't have that, I would never have tossed my hat in there because I wouldn't have known what the hell to do. That's the kind of thing I look at in who I vote for and that sort of thing. When she talks about, and again, it's going to cost money to get to know his name. Then it's going to cost more money for him to let us know what he's about. Miss Crockett, we know her name. She's got great name recognition, way out of Texas. And we know what she's about, doing the right thing. And it's not about the party. We just want people who are going to do the right thing by all the folks they represent. And in DC, essentially, you represent everybody in the country, not even your state or your district. So that's where I'm at. This is serious, and I want to make sure that people take it seriously.
Very good. Very good. That's well spoken, man. Ty, we're gonna try one more again and see what we got. You might be on mute. Can we hear you, Ty?
Oh, I thought you were speaking. I thought it was Ty. I'm giving it a thumbs up.
I know, man. Ty, you on mute. You're on mute, Ty. We can't hear you. So I'm gonna go on and turn it on to Mr. Williams, and Mr. Williams, just like Mr. Allen just gave his that perspective as well is on point. I want to hear from you also on that tip, and what us Texans need to hear.
Well, I initially said that my definition of politics is war without bloodshed. We are at war in this nation, and Texas has a history of advocating suppression. We know the true story of the Alamo, why the battle was fought. why Texas went to war, to be able to bring their slaves into the region called Texas. Okay. And now we can diddly squat and play games all day long. That's a reality. As the mayor was saying, this is serious business. And I mentioned my children because my investment, I'm in the checkout generation, okay? And while I want to stay here for as long as I can, I realize that I have an obligation and responsibility to do everything that I can to give my children's children and their children an opportunity. And often that comes about by standing up and saying no, not only no, but sometimes hell no. And I believe that we're at that point today in this nation. You know, we're talking about preventing people from being able to get a glass of water, a bottle of water while standing in line. We're talking about being able to eliminate books off the shelves to tell the history of our country, as though that's going to somehow mysteriously make it not something that happened. And I see the same dynamics here in the state of Texas with Ken Paxton and our governor. You know, I'm just appalled, and especially being a warrior myself, having sacrificed my life by being a military person. I don't get a chance to say no, I'm not going. When the whistle went off, I had to be there. Okay, I was a pawn on the board. I didn't have anything to do with policy, but the policy impacted on my life and often determined whether or not I was going to come back. And I'm saying I look at Jasmine Crockett as a foot soldier. I see her willing to fight the battle that needs to be fought in this country and in this state at this time. It's you know, we reach a point where we know that the water has reached its temperature. We have reached that temperature, and I believe that she represents a state of alarm, and she's willing to do the work. She's willing to do the battle, even at the risk of becoming a casualty. The woman has received death threats, and let me tell you, people don't threaten your life unless they fear you're being effective. Okay, if you're not being effective, there's no need in telling someone what you're going to do to them. And so that tells me right there, she's doing something out of the ordinary. She's doing something out of the old paradigm that has got some people worried and concerned. And I'm saying, look at what she has done. Look at the work she has done. Okay, she has stood up against power. She has spoken truth to power. That is what we need. Okay. In the military, you do an assessment, you decide if you need ground movement, air movement, movement by the sea. We need movement by Jasmine Crockett, someone that's willing to stand up and face the person that's called the President of the United States, someone that's willing to criticize the highest court in this nation, the Supreme Court, someone that's willing to call it what it is. And I'm an advocate of it because my worldview, my vista, how I see things is through the definition that I gave you. It's scary time. And as the mayor pointed out, and he used as an analogy, the COVID-19 situation and him having made some decisions because he was committed to the people, his constituents. And he had to do what he felt he had to. That's a leadership, stepping outside of the comfort zone. And he stepped outside the comfort zone. And I see Jasmine stepping outside of the comfort zone. And she's already acknowledged, if I don't meet the bill, then I don't get elected. Okay. But I just feel that we're at that point. I'm in agreement with the mayor that this is dangerous times. And it requires staunch positioning. And I think Jasmine, at this point, is the person for the job. If we don't hire her, if we don't vote for her, then, reality will bear its fruit. But I think right now, based on what I've seen, she qualifies. My brother-in-law, who hasn't voted for a while, gave me a call and said, I'm behind Jasmine, And if you see her, you tell her that Sam Chastain wants to vote for her. You know, I was impressed with that, not only because he was getting involved, but that she was responsible for making him want to be involved. And I think she has got a lot of people off their comfort couches and turned the television set off and said, hey, I'm ready to vote. And if she can do that, I think we stand a chance to, if nothing else, they'll know if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. And as you know, when a bully bullies you, the only thing that can get a bully off of your back is to punch him back in his nose or her nose. And I think she's willing to hit the bully back. And that's why I believe that, you know, she qualifies as what we need at this time.
Okay. Well, thank you there. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you for that. Also, we're going to try to try Ty one more time. You know, we're going to try to get one more time, Ty. And also, we might have, I want to do Ty, you got the disclaimer or should I do it? Oh, Lord. Because I think we can't hear you, bro. But first of all, let me do this. Let me just put this in there. Are you muted? That the opinions of myself, Vance Bradford, the opinions of Mr. Derrick Williams, the opinions of Mr. David Allen, there are opinions. There are, and they're not so of TAAN TV. Okay, so this is how we feel. This is what we got out of the recap. And like I say, it's not necessarily the thoughts and the stances of TAAN TV. Just want to make sure that we appreciate allowing them for us to come on and to state how we feel and share this knowledge. My two brothers over here, Mr. Williams and Mr. Allen, there's so much knowledge, and this show could really go on, and there's other topics that we can talk, especially during this race. You know, I hope you guys stay with us, and throughout this, we'll have more shows. You got, you know, both you guys agreed on that we should keep doing this, and I think we will. Ty, I'm gonna keep trying.
I think I'm back. Am I back?
Well, my man. Because you know, it's just leaning in one way, and you know, Ty, I value your opinion too, and I just got a chance to do some work here with Mr. Allen. You know, I done work with Mr. Williams, Mr. Allen, and he's outstanding. Mr. Allen is outstanding. So Ty, you know, keep this going and bring us home, man.
So let me ask this, because I missed a lot. How much time do we have left, so I can make sure that we get everything in that we can get in? How much time we got left?
All right, we'll see what the producer got, man. Because I'm here. We're on 10, man. Do it, Ty.
Okay. So let's do this. We gave a disclaimer, and I appreciate Mayor Allen and Mr. Williams. You guys are being very candid and direct, and that's what we want. That's what our viewers want. They want perspective, because a lot of them don't know this process. A lot of them don't know what's going on. So I want to thank you guys for that. The question I was trying to ask earlier, and you guys kind of hinted to it, but for me, debates should have a specific purpose. And I think in this situation, we know it's a primary, and we know this is the Democratic primary. So my first question is this: what did the Democratic primary, or what did the Democratic Party gain from this debate, if anything? Was it just informal and informational, and we just learned about the candidates, or did the party, because we have these two candidates, grow? And Mr. Williams, go ahead and give us your 2 cents on that, and then we'll hear from Mayor Allen.
Well, I'm not quite sure I understand your question. You're asking me, what did the Democratic Party gain?
Yeah, let me rephrase it. So we all know, and again, in elections in the United States of America, we have a two-party system, right? So primarily Democrats are tuning in to look at these two Democratic candidates. For the party itself to have these two candidates, we have a strong Black woman that's running, that has a lot of experience. And we have on the other side of the ticket, of the Democratic ticket, we have Mr. Talarico that has his positives. Looking at the debate, does the Democratic Party look strong? Do we look like we can compete? Do we look like we can turn Texas blue and win a statewide race, or not? What is your perspective? What is your feedback on that?
Well, I think in order to fairly answer that question, historically we have to think about when we have found ourselves in a similar state of affairs, and so given the issues that we've discussed, around voting, around the ICE, them with their uncontrolled, just out there, all of the major issues that we've addressed this year, or we see increasing. For me, we need a combative, and when I say combative, I'm not talking about someone that just picks a fight for the purpose of picking a fight, but willing to stand up to the person that started the fight. Okay, I'm military trained, and so I believe in diplomacy. Diplomacy is extremely important, but I also believe that there is a time, there's 4 seasons, and sometimes the season rolls around where we have to stand up and make people understand that we are willing to fight. We're there. As the mayor pointed out, these are dangerous times. So did the Democratic Party gain anything? Well, the Democratic Party has had its criticisms. Some people say that, when you're on board a ship and the ship is going down, the Republicans make it clear, I don't care if you drown. And the Democratic Party often tries to make it more comfortable while the ship is going down. Okay. It is what we have. It is what it is. And I think that if we're going to hold people accountable, that issues have to be forced. And I think she's just in a position to force those issues. And if the Democratic Party doesn't see her holistically as a value representative, then we need to take a close look at the Democratic Party, which we should be doing anyway. We should be looking at all parties. Are we standing for the principles that we say our party stands for? And there's been times that the Democratic Party has been questionable whether or not that's been true or not. So that's, how did we benefit? Well, we certainly benefited by knowing what we got. And we know what we got in Jasmine Crockett. We know what we have in her opponent as well. I see a good, strong candidate. And I think that he's able to accomplish some things if he is in office. But I think we need a warrior right now. I think we need someone that has a background of law, someone that is able to be willing to stand up in a court-like environment and say, this is against the law. It's a dangerous time. And we require, for me, the urgency that she brings to the platform. That's about the best I can do there. And as far as, how did the Democratic Party benefit? Well, this is, like group development, forum, storm, perform, and norm. Something new comes into the play and we go right back to the form stage. And so I think the Democratic Party has learned something. They know what they have in Jasmine Crockett. Now, whether or not they support her the way they should, I can't say, Tyrone.
Thank you for that, Mr. Williams. Mayor Allen, let me sauce it up for you, because I know you've been very successful in politics, and even though I was in and out, I heard some of the things you contributed. From a candidate standpoint, do you believe that this debate served the purpose for the candidates to get the information out that the community needs to make a decision on who they're going to vote for, who they get behind, or maybe there was something left on the table by the moderators?
Oh, okay. Well, let me respond like this. I would like to see another debate. I don't think this has to be the final debate. Okay. I think there are a lot of constituents that are behind Jasmine, but are still scratching their head on, well, what is her position on that? I know there was one part of the debate where they were talking about, I don't know if it was a super PAC, and Jasmine was pointing out that she had taken $600,000 and that she had given it to the down candidates. And of course, she had received some criticism earlier. That's always an issue. The super PAC, who's funding you, and obviously she's taking some money. She needs the money in order to get elected. I think that there needs to be more conversation around that. And while there are many people who didn't know much about her, I think they know more about her, at least from the standpoint of what she says she's willing to do. But I would like to see another debate. Okay. I don't know if they feel that that's necessary.
I think that they have 2 or 3. They have 2 or 3 more scheduled, I believe.
Okay. All right. Well, I would like to see another debate. And then we come and summarize again in terms of what are our positions and how did we see that. Okay. But I would like to see another debate.
Okay. Mayor Allen.
Well, I think the Democratic Party benefited greatly because as soon as you measure, it's like tryouts in any sport or trying out in the theater, you're going to pick the best person for the part, whether it's an athlete or someone to lead the class. I didn't stay in the military nowhere near as long as Mr. Williams did, but I can relate to and understand, respect, and appreciate. I was born into the Army. My dad was in the Army my whole life. And then 5 of the 7 of the kids, we went into the military. But when I saw, and I looked at on YouTube, other discussions by both, again, in brushing up for this, and all the debate did was continue to confirm that they're playing on different fields at different levels, however you want to put it. There's a reason why when in playing football and running track in middle school and high school, I stopped running track because I couldn't get into cross country running further than I could see. Didn't make sense to me. Okay. But when you look at the fields, she's talking Washington, D.C. And Mr. Talarico, as good a person as I'm sure he is, he's talking about his students in a school down in the valley. No, this is not a training ground. Now, if both of them only had similar level experiences, then we're talking a different game. The tryouts are different. But right now, the checks and the scores the boxes she's getting checked are so different than his because you can't replace experience. Good intentions do not help in Washington, D.C. There have been a lot of people who've come and gone. Miss Crockett was an attorney, is an attorney, but she was an attorney prior to this. We lived in D.C. after we came to the United States. Washington, D.C. makes laws. If you don't know the law, you can't even understand all of the terms that are used in the bills that are being passed into law. It's a whole legal scenario. So again, you start talking about they're playing two good Democratic people, but you got one position. It's my understanding on something I read, and I heard her say it on one of her pieces. Mr. Colin Allred backed out of running for that position when she stepped in. Folks, are you paying attention? Because he ran a good race when he ran, another good former military man, but any good person who means well and wants what's best will concede, yield to the better person. Him doing that says things that we could never really comprehend, because he's up in there. He backed out of that, taking a look and running for something else. Back to you.
Let me follow up with you, and then we'll get to Mr. Williams. So just looking at the debate, and I'm sure there's pros cons for both of them. What would be your biggest takeaway from each candidate? And again, the biggest takeaway doesn't necessarily have to be something positive. It can be something good, bad, or indifferent. But what would be your biggest takeaway? Number one takeaway for each candidate. And then Mr. Williams, while Mayor is talking, I want you to be thinking about that.
Both of them care.
Okay.
Both of them are good people and they care. But my experience compared to yours in being down there running TAAN, when I've come down there hanging with Laura, I'm impressed by what y'all do, but I damn well can't do it because I don't have the experience. I've been on radio talk shows numerous times in Los Angeles, at Prairie View, and a couple of times in Houston and in Maryland. I can't operate the station. I can talk into the mic, but I can't set it up. I'd still be where you were, and people wouldn't be able to hear me or anything like that because I wouldn't know what the options are. Experience can't be replaced in any field, but because this is so important, affects so many lives and property. And again, based on what's going on now, we need someone in there who's not learning. We need to be able to hand them the ball and they run. We don't need to tell them how to hold the ball. You need to know we're giving it to you. Go make some stuff happen. And that's what Ms. Crockett has already been doing, and that's irreplaceable.
So Mayor, what I'm hearing from you is they both care. You feel like they're both good Democratic candidates, but where Representative where there's an edge is experience. That's what I'm hearing.
No, it's not an edge. It's not an edge. It's not close.
Tell me what it is.
I can't go out there and deal with and do what my favorite player, LeBron James, does. And I love him. I love basketball. But when you give me the ball, they gonna steal it because I don't have a lot of experience in dribbling, much less shooting. It's not a comparison. Classroom versus law in Washington, D.C., with who she's been dealing with in these hearings. And now that, the president has put Patel and these other people over these major departments, she knows how and has been dealing with calling them out. He's still learning there is such a department. It's not an edge.
Mr. Williams?
The thing that I believe the Democratic Party went away with is knowing that they have a candidate that is willing to take the risk that so many previous candidates were not. I think the Democratic Party recognizes that this is see-me times, and that whether or not they publicly acknowledge it, you have a number of when we talk about the Democratic Party, you have progressives, you got moderates, you got middle of the roaders. Everybody doesn't have the same philosophical positioning. And I think what Jasmine has done is there's no compromise. She has pretty much said, this is what I'm willing to do. And as the mayor pointed out, she is doing those things. The number of bills she's passed give you a description of who she is. When you look at her opponent, Talarico, his contributions to bills, I mean, he's done some things. Okay, I think he's a good guy. Without a doubt. I mean, in terms of alternatives, candidate one, candidate two, he's skillful. He's skillful, and he brings I think a comfort, respect to the position. But I just feel that the position calls for a quarterback right now, as the mayor is pointed out. And I think Jasmine has been trained to throw the ball. She's been trained to be a lineman. And I believe the circumstances that we're experiencing right now requires that job description. I'm not taking anything away from him as a person that is committed to his constituency. He used the educational examples because that's what he knows best. That's what he relates to. Children grow up to be daddies and mommies. He sees the world through an educational spectrum. Jasmine sees the world through a public defense posture, defending people. She knows that if you don't stand up and speak up when it's your time, that time may not circle back around to you. And so in terms of qualifications for the period, I believe that's what I hear the mayor saying, that she brings qualifications that are needed at this time. And I think the Democratic Party is substantiating those qualifications. And every day something new is happening. Another person is killed. Trump, freaks out with another crazy policy. And of all of the representatives, Jasmine's voice is still being heard. Eh? And if you line them all up, I don't think anyone has spoken out as avidly as she has. And, I keep going back, it's dangerous times. Count the number of people that the ICE is feeling more and more comfortable in taking out. All we need is an ignition that you won't be able to put out the fire. And I think she's the fireman right now, or the fire person that we need to help put out that fire. But he's a good guy. And would I vote for him? Yeah. But given the choice, my choice at this point is to cast my vote for Jasmine, because she brings the qualifications that this nation and the state of Texas is in dire need of right now. And so
that's a perfect segue into my next piece. So it sounds like, and I might be wrong, you guys correct me, but it sounds like we feel like not even win or loss on this debate, but overall the best candidate from your perspective is going to be Representative Crockett. Is that fair to say, based on her experience,
without a doubt,
being a lawyer, a public defender, things like that? My question is this, and her and her people may see this, and so and other people looking and listening may need a strategy from your perspective. And we'll start with you, Mr. Williams, since you're already cooking. But what would be the pathway to get Representative Crockett not only just out of the primary, but with a victory in November? And let me crown it off by saying this. I know she's hitting the state. She was in San Antonio and she did probably 30 events one weekend. She was here just the other day at a press conference on the steps of City Hall. So we know she's active. We know she's moving. But historically, we have not been able to get a Democrat elected in November in this position. Many, many decades. What is the strategy to get people mobilized, to get them to the polls and to make this happen?
Well, Jasmine's position is expanding her voting base. And when I look at someone who's willing to, and of course she has a rural background as well. She's very comfortable in rural backgrounds and encounters. Everybody has their set of stereotypes that they carry about different representatives, and that applies to race. It applies to gender. The one thing I like about her is how she has made herself available to so many people. Whether or not you stop by a club, whether or not you stop by a farm. And the Democrats historically have often failed to expand their inclusionary base. And I see a strong effort on her part to reach people that traditionally are often missed. And so I think one of the strategies is to continue to go into neighborhoods and into areas that Democrats have traditionally avoided for whatever reason, out of fear, or, well, we really don't have to worry about that group. They're not going to vote for us anyway. I think you have to stand up to those expectations. And I see her willing to go among the diverse crowd. And I think if she continues to do that and reach population segments that have not traditionally been receptive or have received Democratic representatives, I think she will expand that constituency voting base even more. Perhaps even to the point where she might have the tipping numbers to run a good race. But I think she has to continue to not necessarily go down the trotted path, but to go through some byways and some highways that Democrats have not normally done. And I do that demographically because, you know, we can look at the last election. There were a number of people who felt that they were denied access, okay? And those decisions were made that, well, that's just a small group. Well, collectively, when they all come together, you find out that they're not as small as you think they are. And I think Jasmine has an idea that she has to go down some non-traditional roads. And I would like to see her continue to do that. And I think that we have a good chance of getting some surprising results if she does it.
Yes, sir. Before you chime in, Mayor, I like that, Mr. Williams. What I heard you say was, and let me add this. So how our state is made up in our densely populated areas, you know, Hayes County, Bear County, Tarrant County, the larger Harris County, those areas are blue. But what I heard you say was we can't just keep going after the blue. We have to also go into those rural areas that may have blue, but we got to find them. We got to talk to them. We got to engage them.
Yes.
So I love what you said because you gave another positive for her. She's an expert. We all agree that she cares. She's a lawmaker. She's a public defender. But you also said she has ties to the rural community, and she's not afraid to get to the rural community. I like that. I like that strategy. Go ahead, Mayor. I just wanted to chime in. That was good stuff. I just wanted to chime in on that.
Absolutely. Go ahead, and I totally agree with Mr. Williams. When after 3 years in Germany, I came back 2012 or so when I first kind of set up shop in Prairie View. And just in going to things with other people, one of the things I did was got involved with the Democratic Party in Waller County. We went to a training by Mr. Hinojosa of the Democratic Party in Texas. Mm-hmm. It was on some new equipment and you know, in planning campaigns and what have you. But the one thing I'll never forget from that meeting, he mentioned Texas has more Democratic registered voters than Republicans. Since that time, all I've heard people say from the Democratic Party, Texas is a red state. Math was always my worst subject. I was scared to go to class. Nobody knew because I did well in everything else, so I can talk like that. But when you tell me you have more folks who are registered to vote, now I'm saying we need someone who can get those people to come out, just like President Obama did in a few historically so-called red states. He got the registered blue folks to come out. Mm-hmm. When I first ran for mayor, I was running against folks who worked at the university, the whole fraternity gamut, and they said the word was all they're going to do is get the students, and there's no way I would win. Well, they didn't understand. I eat in the dining hall 2-3 days a week because the food is just so much better than it was when I was a student. I mean, that's just the caveat. I was there because the food is good. But I wasn't just there. I was talking to students, encouraging students, meeting students. So I said, well, okay, well, if that's all it is, I'll just get me some students. And I was already going visiting volunteer groups, sitting in, even though I wasn't a member, or Prairie retired teachers and all that stuff. So I knew folks in the community. I just went back to some of those same people. But if we change our language and we educate the folks, because what you're telling me when you say they're just going to win, you're telling me we're defeated before I even tried, don't even bother to sign up. Well, that's not my makeup. I mean, I ran the NAACP as first vice president in Los Angeles and a discrimination civil rights law firm. You know, and Prairie told me you can do anything you want to do if you apply yourself. So I'm like, okay, they got some. They just don't know I got, and I'm going to get some too. So you win. But if we change our language with TAAN, with the folks that y'all deal with there regarding politics, I mean, ask the question, did you know that we have more registered Democrats in Texas than Republicans? Now it's like, really, we got a chance? Well, I'm going to get up off my couch and go vote because we could beat them because it's more of us. You see how you change a defeatist mentality to a winning mentality just by changing your conversation and educating the people. I'll never forget Mr. Hinojosa said that. That was somewhere around 2012, but it never left my head. We can, but again, Miss Crockett has that ability to get folks to move. The other guy, Mr. Teller, he's a nice guy. I don't need a nice guy is not gonna get me up off my couch if I'm, voter apathetic, but someone who's saying, hey, we can do this, we're gonna win. Okay, well, let me go and help make it happen.
No, that's good. That's good. So I'm adding to this, we need to change our language. And what I heard you say was, you heard Hinojosa say we have more registered Democrats in Texas. So we need to stop saying this is a red state and figure out how to engage and activate those people who are on the side of the Democrats. And so that's good. So that sounds like a big tent. And we need to figure out how to get these people under the tent. How do we get them under the tent? We got the language, we're hitting the rural areas, but how do we do that? How do we engage more voters?
Well, if you're in sports, one of the first things you tend to take a look at, especially the coaching, but any of us who play, we look at the competition. If we're bigger, faster, stronger, we go in playing with the winner's mindset. We gonna beat y'all. We might barely beat, and they might beat us. But what mindset did we take to the ball field? The mindset is what gets those people out to vote. They registered. That says something. At some point, they registered. So that means they're willing to, and they registered as a Democrat. We just need to get them to move on why they registered in the first place and to let them know we're going to take this thing. We've done it before and we fell off. And now that we've got our numbers, we're bringing more folks to the polls than you all. And in that process, you're telling them, hey, come on, son, go with me. Oh, no, we're going to bend this thing and we need every vote. I'm going, and that means you going too. Again, it's just a winner's mentality. If you come to the game with, oh man, they're going to kill us, guess what they're going to do? They might barely beat you, but they're going to beat you because in your head, you've lost before you even put your uniform on. No, we just change our conversation, telling folks, hey, there's more of us than there are of them. And since it's a numbers game, just play with the numbers, educate people on and encourage them, motivate them. And again, she's much more adept at that than the different YouTube videos and the debate that I saw with the other gentleman. Like I said, two good people, but we need someone who not is going to just represent the Democratic Party. We need somebody who can beat the other guy. And that's what this is about.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Williams?
Yeah, I'm listening to you, the implication that the Big Tent approach still is a very effective inclusionary kind of practice. As a trainer, and while the mayor was talking, I was thinking about when I'm called into an organization to say do some work. I've been called, hey, Mr. Williams, we have some racial conflict. We need you to come in and do some race relation training. And I would often say, hey, can we expand that training before I come in and talk specifically about the historical practices of discrimination based on race? Can I come in and do say the first part of the training, do a cross-cultural awareness training set, talk about crossing differences? Because I believe that often people have more in common than they realize, but because of the fears that they have, they're going to be accused of this and accused of that. You don't get to the nitty gritty. So I would say, hey, let me alter that. Let's spend the first couple of days looking at our similarities and not our differences. Okay, you bring mamas together with children and put them in a room, and you come back 15 minutes later and they're laughing and talking because they found out that children are children, and the concerns and fears that parents have. It doesn't matter what your racial background is. They are identical. But often we prevent that stage of interaction to take place because of the fears that we have about each other. So I think language is important, Tyrone. And I think that one of the cautionary things is that when you go into these areas that traditionally perhaps Democrats have not gone into, to be aware that they have their fears and their stereotypes as well. And often when groups are not able to see their similarities, and then we can get to those differences, then they lose the game. And so I think language is important. I think timing is important. And I think we have to recognize that the world's not how it ought to be, but the world is how it is. And as a politician, you heard my definition earlier, but as a politician, we have to recognize that there are people who don't know because they were taught not to know. There are people who have hostilities because they were raised in an environment that taught hostilities. And so that knowledge is important when you're putting together your plan to go into these areas, to recognize that it may not be as easy as you think it's going to be, but have a plan of humanity and recognizing that we got in this mess because a lot of folk made the mess happen. They managed the mess. And so there's a lot of people under the tent that don't realize that they have more in common than differences. So I think the wording, the language is important. And I think it's an important thing for Jasmine's team to know as well as they prepare to go into these areas, and don't be willing to bail out at the first sign of resistance, but to talk about the similarities that we have, and then the differences might begin to resolve themselves. So I like your comment about the language. I think that's a strategic part of going into these other neighborhoods and areas.
Now, good stuff, guys. We close. So we're gonna give them something good to wrap up with. I've heard from both of you that we need a fighter, and that you see the fight more so in Representative Crockett than State Representative Talarico. And so with that being said, there's people out there that agree with you that we need a fighter. My question is this: when Representative Crockett becomes Senator Crockett, what is she fighting for? And I asked that question based on some of the things that were there. The question was asked about impeachment. The question was asked about funding for education, funding for some of our allies that may or may not should be continuing to get that funding. It could be that, it could be something else, but it will start with the mayor. And it can be one thing, it could be two things, it could be three things at the max. But what is your expectation for your next United States Senator from Texas to go to Washington, D.C. and fight for?
The people, they do a lot of talking, and even in having been born in another country, as well as my mother and, for my siblings, you have to do a better job of taking care of home first. We've got too many people struggling, homeless, hungry, can't afford food, and we're ramping up the military. I know enough about the military the government trained me to be a pilot while I was still in college under that program before they ended it nationwide on a college Army ROTC level. You have to do a lot of things before you ever put the key in the engine of an airplane. The pre-flight check, the rudders, the oil, all of that. We get in the car and we just started. At some point, we know the oil was changed, or we're going to burn up the engine in the car. But it doesn't take the same checking with what she knows, with who she knows. That's how you get, and you hear the term a lot, and a lot of people may not appreciate it. Bipartisan means I'll work with you on your thing of concern to your constituents if you'll support me on something I'm doing to help my constituents. That's working together. Not a lot of that going on, but noticeably more and more, the stupider the president acts, more and more his own people either aren't running or they're willing to cross over the aisle. But first, you have to know me.
Yeah.
You have to have heard some of my concerns. She's been there hearing other people's concerns, having her staff research other people to make things better. Strictly comes out of Washington, D.C. I mean, so many things, even in the Constitution, are being totally disregarded by President Trump. And that's unfortunate. But he's constantly showing his ignorance in the process. And that's costing us nationally and internationally. So for her to go and work on things that are going to make things better for the people in Texas. Now, I'm going to tell you, in Texas, we're blessed. We actually are. They just passed $140,000 homeowners assessment. So we don't pay $140,000 taxes on the first $140,000 for school district, which is the highest taxes. And for some people, disabled, things like that, it can go up to as much as $200,000, and that's all or most of your home because we're financially viable. And there's conversation now about wiping out homeowners' property taxes in Texas. Some things are going in the right way because they're tired of seeing too many elders lose their home behind owing taxes. And I totally agree. We added an additional 20 just in the city of Prairie View. So folks have some relief. Someone like her with her legal background, and I don't have a specific because I know what goes on in Prairie View. I've got an idea what goes on in Houston and Harris County and San Antonio and Bexar County. But the specifics I don't have. But that's also why someone who's already in the trenches, we need to keep her in the trenches because she's got that. In that regard, I'm just like the gentleman, Mr. Talarico. I don't know the people. and I don't know all the issues from a DC standpoint. I don't know the players. I don't know what you can and can't do. The ordinances, the government codes, all the constitutional way, the way it works. You got to learn that stuff. And it took me a long time to learn it and activate it in little old Prairie View. And I'm thinking Washington, D.C. I used to live in DC. We used to go to the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial and all that stuff on Sunday. It is a huge undertaking, and it's not a training ground. Back to you, sir.
So, Mr. Williams, and so what I heard, she needs to go down there for the people, take care of the business. We got people that's hungry. We got people that's struggling. We got people that's homeless. So you wanted to go down there and fight for the people. Mr. Williams, we got about 90 more seconds before we close out. So what will be your top fight for Senator, we're going to give it to already, Senator Crockett to take? I was going to hold off on it.
Yeah, Tyrone, I think that's a good question, and asking what is the superordinate goal for someone who's representing all of the United States. And I think for me, there are a couple of areas that I think that we all can rally around. And they are some of them. Supreme Court accountability. Okay. I think something that all of us will agree. We need more accountability with the Supreme Court. Another area is campaign finance. I think we can certainly rally around that the folk with money are controlling too much of our politics, and we need to address that issue seriously. Two other areas that I think that can help rally us as a nation is the Freedom to Vote Act. I think Jasmine can get behind that. We all know now that there is an assault on our voting rights. And I think that's something that whether you be red, whether you be blue, that we would all be concerned about. And of course, my final thing is that I believe that, and Jasmine believes it too, I would hope, that an informed citizen is our democracy, the democracy's best defense. And so I think those areas will certainly expand the national base, whether or not you be Democratic or Republican. And I think if those areas are part of her mandate, you know, she can have the push regardless of color.
Thank you for that, Mr. Williams. As we close, in summation, we want to thank all of you guys who tuned in. And whether you're watching this live or you're going to watch this later, please comment, please share, please get the information out. What I heard today is both candidates care about the people, but based on what our expert analysts shared, there was one candidate that stood out. She was the expert. She is a lawyer. She is a public defender, and she has the fight. We have rural mates, not just the big cities. Have to have a big tent, and we need to change our language because we know that Texas has more people that want to do right for the people. With that being said, we're fighting for the people. We're thinking about the Supreme Court, campaign finance, and we want everybody to have the freedom to vote that are eligible to vote. There shouldn't be any voter suppression. So those are things that we've discussed, and we're going to continue talking about these things as more information comes out. But again, I want to thank you guys, Mr. Williams, Mayor David, of course, Vance, and the TAAN TV platform. But let's keep it going, guys. We have the primaries coming up in May. February 17th, I believe, is when voting starts. But we got to have a lot of conversation between now and then. And then we got a big opportunity in November. So, guys, let's stay connected. Let's stay focused. And let's continue to tune in to TAAN TV.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for hanging in there, Mr. Darden. You're a bulldog.
Technology tried to take me out.
Well,
All
first,
right
hey,
now.
fellas, I want to say something.
But you see what experience did? It got you back in.
All
I'm
right,
just saying.
that's right. It's nice meeting you, Mayor, and
Same here,
that
sir.
fella up there in the left-hand corner. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah, hey, and fellas,
All right.
I like to say something before we get out of here real quick. First of all, this came out an idea of mine, and I asked Laura to. I said, Laura, I don't want to be on a show that I'm the smartest guy in the room, and our CEO Laura Thompson took care of that for sure. I'm telling you, all right, hey, that's what you got to do. Surround yourself with
Always.
intelligence. Yes, surround yourself with smart cats. And she did an excellent job today. And I do want to say, I worked with Tyrone. You're my main man. You're my main man. That hosting, and you see how you brought everything out. And then our two here, Mr. Williams and Mr. Allen. And Mr. Allen was there saying, I love your basketball references because I'm a hooper too. But I think Ty, I think we found some 2-point guards, man. I think, and the way they gel with each other, man, the way they go back and forth, man, and the thing about it, man, the unselfishness and the of knowledge that they have in them two heads of theirs. Mr. Allen, you got the clean dome shade, and he got his branded Tam on, all that. You know what I mean? So no, I just want to thank you guys, and like I like Ty said, hope you guys will come back. We got a long, I guess race for these seats, and we're gonna be doing more of these shows. And we definitely, Mr. Williams, he supports us. Ty, he supports
We thank you
us.
for TAAN TV.
Yeah, and we
Absolutely.
hope and Mr.
And
Williams,
make sure you send the recap
yeah.
to Miss Crockett.
All this will be chopped up, and yeah. And Mr. Allen, we sure hope that you can find some more time to come back with us. Man, this has been great.
Anytime.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. So, and we
Thank
get
you
out
all.
of here. Ty?
Okay. God bless.
Guys, we out of here. TAAN TV, the African American Network, where we have a local feel and a global reach, y'all. We'll be back for sure.